My name is Matthew Bowles. I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Alto Metals, which owns the Sandstone Gold Project in Western Australia. The past 12 months have been busy for the company. On a corporate front, we've been dealing with a number of M&A approaches, and I'll touch on that later. But what I do want to focus on is the significant exploration potential that we're seeing at our Sandstone Gold Project, the outstanding high-grade gold results from our recent drilling, and our upcoming exploration programs. So Sandstone is located in the East Murchison of Western Australia. It's a world-class gold province. We're surrounded by a number of multi-million ounce mines and deposits. Our project area itself covers 800 square kilometres of the Sandstone Greenstone Belt, so a dominant land position over the majority of an entire greenstone belt. The project itself has had mining activity since the early 1900s and has produced over 1 million ounces of gold. More recently, the focus has been on near-surface oxide material and has had very little drilling below 100 metres vertical depth. Our current resource sits at 331,000 ounces with significant high-grade results which are outside the current resource, which is defined to a depth of only 200 metres and remains open. Additionally, we have a number of other targets which we consider will drive further growth. So just moving on corporately, we currently have 298 million shares on issue. We're currently trading at 8.5 cents, so a market cap of about 26 million. We just recently announced a $5.5 million capital raising priced at 7.5 cents. That'll settle shortly. We'll take our total shares on issue to 371 million, so a market cap of approximately 32 million. This raising will see us well funded for our upcoming exploration programs. The board has a strong balance between both technical and financial skills. We have a very tight capital structure with the top 20 holding approximately 80% of the shares on issue, and management and board together hold 23%. So we're located in the East Murchison of WA. It is a world-class address. We're surrounded by a number of multi-million ounce mines. The area itself is supported with excellent infrastructure, including sealed roads, grid power, and domestic pipelines. Our project, which is owned 100%, as you can see here, covers the majority of the Sandstone Greenstone Belt, with the major Edale Shear to the east and the UME Shear to the west. So Sandstone area, as I said, has had mining activity since the early 1900s. There are multiple high-grade gold targets, both previously mined and new targets on the property to chase, including Hacks and Arroyo Reefs, which both produced 206,000 ounces at 24 grams per tonne and 223,000 ounces at 16 grams per tonne respectively. More recently, we have Lord Nelson and Lord Henry down in the southeast. They were both mined by Troy Resources and at the time were some of the most profitable gold mines in Western Australia. So with so many targets, you can see how it could be difficult to prioritise. More recent exploration has focused on the near-surface oxide material driven by the oxide mill. However, Alto's current exploration strategy is to focus on areas with known gold mineralisation. We've built on the excellent previous work completed by Troy's exploration team and therefore prioritised the Lord Nelson and the Lord Nelson corridor to the south, down there in the south at west, east. Go again. So the Sandstone area has had mining activity since the early 1900s and it's already produced over 1 million ounces. There are multiple high-grade gold targets, both previously mined and new targets on the property to chase, including Hacks and Arroyo Reefs, which produced 206,000 ounces at 24 grams per tonne and 223,000 ounces at 16 grams per tonne respectively. More recently, there is Lord Nelson and Lord Henry, both mined by Troy Resources and at the time were some of the most profitable gold mines in Australia. So with so many targets, you can see how it is difficult to prioritise. More recent exploration is focused on the near-surface oxide material, and a lot of that strategy was driven by the oxide mill at Sandstone. Alto's current exploration strategy is to focus on areas with known gold mineralisation, and building on the excellent work of the previous owners, including Troy Resources exploration team, we've prioritised the Lord's Corridor down in the southeast corner of the project because the location of the Lord's Corridor is close proximity to the Edale Shear, and you find big deposits near big structures. and the existing ounces which remain there because there was resources which couldn't go through the oxide mill. So just moving on to Lord Nelson. This is the Lord Nelson pit looking north-northwest, mined down to 90 metres and produced over 200,000 ounces at 4.6 grams per tonne. We recently announced an interim upgrade to the mineral resource of 109,000 ounces at 1.9 grams per tonne. And as you can see here, these resources sit below and south of the pit and remain open, plunging to the south. The resource includes a new shallow lode which we discovered 200 metres south of the pit, which again remains open down plunge, and we're looking to follow this up shortly. Importantly, you'll see there's a high-grade zone below the pit, which included 16 metres at 5.2 grams per tonne, which we identified from recent drilling. All of these results are outside the current resource, which is highlighted by the yellow line there, due to the wide spacing of the drilling. So we're looking forward to following that up in the upcoming drilling. So looking at Lord Nelson East in long section, and you can clearly see the mineralisation gently plunging to the south, most of which is above 200 metres, and you'll see there's an unclassified material waiting for that closer space drilling. But what I really want to highlight from this slide is that this resource was previously 68,000 ounces, and there was one single drill hole of 6 metres at 2.5 grams per tonne from 82, almost 200 metres south of the pit. Last year, we decided to follow that up to determine the continuity of any potential mineralisation. We drilled a couple of infill holes, and one of which returned 12 metres at 3.4 grams per tonne. We then subsequently followed that up earlier this year, and we got some further high-grade results, including 10 metres at 4, 23 at 3.8, and all less than 50 metres from surface. We also drilled below the pit for the first time at Lord Nelson to confirm the continuity in the primary rock down plunge, and we drilled 16 metres at 5.2 from 200 metres. Most importantly, these results are both from shallow and at depth and can confirm our geological modelling. More recent drilling has returned thick zones of mineralisation from a new lode, which we're calling Orion, which included 28 metres at 2.8 grams per tonne, 16 metres at 3.7, and a new 80 metre step out has confirmed that that mineralisation continues down plunge. So you can really see the potential of Lord Nelson to continue growing down plunge, and like most of these orogenic gold systems, they can keep just going. Importantly, if you look to the far right of the screen, you will see two other single, very shallow drill holes, 1 metre at 2 and 1 metre at 3. This is how we found Orion, and this is our next target area. So we're pretty excited about that. So looking in plan view, further down the corridor, which extends for over 3 kilometres, you can see the mineralisation is associated with a large granodiorite intrusion, and we're seeing that high grade is on the contact predominantly with the ultramafic. Stop that again. So looking at Lord Nelson in plan view, further down the corridor, which extends for over 3 kilometres, you can see the mineralisation is associated with a large granodiorite intrusion, and we're seeing the high-grade gold predominantly on the contact between that granodiorite and the ultramafic rocks. We're continuing to follow that contact down along the corridor to the south, extending from the pit and the Orion lode, and our next target area, which is a further 100 metres from the Orion lode. We expect to commence that next phase of drilling, which is announced for 5,000 metres of RC in the coming weeks, and that's part of a much larger 30,000 metre RC program. So we're planning on hitting this target really, really hard. You can see where we have a few planned holes to test the plunge of Orion, and they will test that plunge in the next 2 contact areas as well on an 80 by 80 metre grid spacing. And as I highlighted in the previous slide, you can see here historical drilling did return some anomalous gold in those shallow holes, and we hope to see that Orion is the first of a number of new lodes discovered along this corridor. So just start that again. So just stepping back and looking at the entire 3 kilometre corridor extending from Lord Nelson at the north to Lord Henry down at the south there. And you can see there are a number of exciting Lord-style lookalike targets coinciding with cross-cutting structures along that corridor, which we're planning to systematically test. Each of these targets is on the contact with the granodiorite and the ultramafic and coincides with shallow historic RAB drilling along that corridor, which returned anomalous gold. So lots of potential to discover further multiple repeat lodes down that corridor. So this is probably one of my favourite slides, which really highlights the significant potential that we're seeing at Sandstone. The slide on the left shows all the drilling that has ever been done over the entire property. The slide on the right shows all the drilling that's been done 100 metres vertical depth. And as you can see, the majority of exploration has really only begun to scratch the surface, and there are multiple targets over the entire 800 square kilometre project area. And the majority of this presentation is focused on the 3 kilometre corridor right down there in the southwest corner. So it's a massive ground holding over an entire greenstone belt, plenty of targets to follow up. So why all the corporate attention? Well, I think we've answered that. We have a dominant land position over an entire greenstone belt, multiple targets, and I think we're fairly well valued compared to a number of our peers. I do want to highlight some of the achievements that our team have made under difficult conditions over the last 12 months. Firstly, we've demonstrated the continuity of mineralisation at Lord Nelson. We've increased the resource by over 60%. We've discovered a high-grade primary lode beneath the Lord Nelson pit, and we've also made a new discovery of the Orion lode to the south of the pit. So I'm really looking forward to what we can deliver over the next 6 to 12 months. So in summary, why invest in Alto? Well, we're located in a world-class gold district. We have a growing 331,000 ounce resource base with significant exploration potential. We own the majority of a greenstone belt. It's had very limited drilling below 100 metres depth. We're surrounded by a number of processing options and we're supported by excellent infrastructure. We're about to commence a 5,000 metre RC program along the Lord's corridor, and that's part of a much larger 30,000 metre drilling program we have planned for the next few months. Thank you.